Today we're talking about Erving Goffman and his presentation of self in everyday life and his correlation to online identity. Erving Goffman was a Canadian sociologist who was born on June 11, 1922 in Canada and died on November 19, 1982 in Philly. He focused on human interaction and how we talk and present ourselves in our own identities. His flagship book, The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life, published in 1959, talks about how we interact and the rituals of social interaction. Despite Goffman not being around during the age of the internet, the stuff he talks about in this book speaks incredibly true to this day, and especially towards the concept of online identity. Some of the marquee points of this book are that we are different when we present ourselves compared to how we actually are sometimes. He describes the presentation of our identity like a play, where there's a front of the stage, where we put on the image of ourselves we want others to see, in the back of the stage, which is where we really are. And then he also talks about impression management, which is managing your impression and your identity in front of others, along with signage and signed vehicles as well. Social media. Obviously, social media has been a game changer in our society. One of the biggest things about the internet and social media is that people are finally able to do everything we do in real life, but behind a screen, leaving our bodies behind the screen as well. It's also made possible for people to present themselves or be a different person that's different than from who they really are, or exaggerate who they are to a certain extent. We also have fragmented versions of ourselves we often tend to exaggerate in order to impress certain people or certain ideas as well. When talking about the play, there's a couple of very key factors. Goffman calls this the dramaturgy of it, as the audience. Whether it's your friends, your family, strangers you're trying to impress. On the internet, there's always so many infinite numbers of people that can be your audience. The setting is where you perform. In the case of your online identity, you're going to perform differently in email versus a text message, different on Facebook than you are on Instagram. The list goes on and on. Another important factor of this is the presenter as well. Two important factors are the expressions you give and the expressions that are given off. The ones that are given include words, body language, facial expressions, and other factors as well. The ones you give off are the reactions you get to those certain expressions as well. But with the internet and your body being behind the screen, there's obviously different factors, whether it is what you post, what you say online, etc., etc. With the front of the stage, there are three types of performances when we're on the front of the stage. The first of these is an idealistic performance. So performances that are consistent with community norms, intentionally or hide certain elements of yourself, and then also ones that conceal inconsistencies or impulses. On the internet, this happens a lot, whether it's cleaning up your act for a job interview, cleaning up pictures on your Instagram, getting rid of you partying, whether it's doing something to impress a group of people or changing yourself to fit in. These are all very important factors. There are also sincere performances where the individual believes in the impression that's created by their own performance. Sometimes we get so lost in this performance that this performance isn't even us. But we're too blind because we're so believing in the story that we just believe it at that point. Then a cynical performance is a performance where the individual does not believe in their own act whatsoever. It's just doing it to get away with it. This happens a lot on the internet when people are trying to impress others. The back of the stage is who we really are. When the cameras are off, this is really who you are. You're not doing any of it for show, regardless if it's a performance that is sincere or cynical. The people that know you the best are the people that are behind the stage. So this is your close friends, whether it's in real life or online. Even on the internet, you can still be the person you really are. The issue with the internet, however, is that it's much easier for people to get lost and lose their authentic self in the process. One of the biggest factors about social media is the profiles that we have and the timelines we're on as well. They're basically our life story all unfolding on a screen or on a web page. They show us grow up as a person, our interests or achievements, but also our failures and shortcomings as well. However, unlike real life, where people have seen everything that happens in your life unfold in real time, our timelines on social media are incredibly curated and can be altered to change the thoughts that people have of us. This also includes getting rid of these failures. Another important factor of Goffman's was that people do all sorts of things to curate their image. In the sense of the internet, curate their profiles, whether it's a filter, whether it's curating your post to match a certain aesthetic, or taking out a photo because it doesn't look good, whatever, might have an ex-boyfriend, whatever it may be. But people will often strive to very far lengths to meet these aesthetics or ideals that they want to get out of social media. This includes doing photo shoots. For example, taking out a photo that you really like because maybe there's a beer in the background, maybe you don't look good in it, etc., etc. Another important factor of impression management that Goffman obviously had no clue of in the first place was cancel culture that has arisen very recently in the internet. Whether it's politics, your own actions, whatever it may be, people are very wary of it, and there's a thin line that often gets crossed. People go to very large lengths, whether it's being careful about what they post, opting not to tag in on certain subjects or stay silent or go with the flow, but also harp in on people and attack people because it's a dog-eat-dog world when it comes to cancel culture. Lastly is sign and sign vehicles. These are pictures or images or symbols that convey a certain message without people even really need to go through with it. These include profile pictures. The profile picture is the immediate image someone gets of you when they see your profile online. Another important sign are status updates and posts, whether they're verbal through text messages, tweets, etc., or pictures, or even reposts. It's the best way that an individual can express their opinion, emotions, or share their experiences as well. The most iconic of these with the age of social media has been the emoticon, or now the emoji. They're various graphic symbols that convey images, tones, and often certain messages, or may even be slang, and add nuances to many communications you have online. This is the same for hashtags and captions on social media posts. Although these are fun inside jokes at times, these can also be problematic as they serve as dog whistles for certain groups, whether they be hate groups, hate speech, etc. One example of this can include the letter Z that was used during the ongoing Ukraine and Russian war to signify a person's support for Russia. There are plenty of other examples of this that have been going on for the past couple years online as well. To summarize everything pretty much, despite him being 50 years ahead of his time, Goffman was very wise in his points and his observations of humans, and he probably had no idea that this would convey into social media and the internet along with real life as well.